Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let me light up some incense and get ourselves in the mood here for a video. I like to have some good aroma. It's been a thing I've been getting into lately, is scented candles and incense and just making my house smell good. Mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through Saturday. I'll be coaching all day today. If you want to get on my schedule, just go to my website, skyazrael.com. I always put the link below. Let me put this in the little holder. I got this little wooden holder that I made. Let's talk to some of you guys about having a crush. I was talking with a buddy of mine the other day. He's got a major crush on a woman, and I was trying to counsel him about it. He didn't really seem to get it. So let's just kind of go through it. Do you have a crush on someone? Have you had a crush on anyone before? I have. I've had crushes on women since the time I was a child into adult life, well into adult life. I try to control it though. These days I try to control that. A crush is a fantasy. It's an infatuation. A crush is usually developed through lack of contact, not more contact. Oftentimes, the more you have contact with a person, the less of a crush you have on them, because you see the reality of who they are. You may find traits and qualities to them that you really like, but you also see the parts of them that aren't so perfect. Whereas when we have one of these infatuations from across the room, maybe it's at the gym, maybe it's at your work, maybe it's at your school, who knows where it is. But a lot of men engage in these. Maybe it's just some celebrity you see online. You fantasize about her all the time. As you get to know somebody, you realize they're not perfect, you know. They go to the bathroom just like everybody else does. They got problems just like everybody else does. They have good days, bad days, just like everybody. Maybe she's not your type. So the two ways to handle a crush is on the front end and on the back end. The front end is try to stop those thoughts of infatuation before they even happen. Stop staring at women across rooms. Sure, she's beautiful, whatever, but you don't need to keep focusing on her, and it's the focus that creates the fantasy. You let your mind go wild. So you want to stop those fantasies. When you feel those storylines running in your head, maybe you've already imagined yourself getting married and having kids. Oh, she's the perfect woman. Look at her lips, look at her hips, look at her boobs. Oh man, her hair is so perfect. A lot of guys engage in this stuff. Cut that off immediately. I think it's important to maintain your position of power, of confidence, of dominance, of being alpha. You should never pedestalize anyone other than God. Don't make false idols out of women. A buddy of mine tell me, oh, if I could just hook up with her, I would worship her. What are you talking about, worship? You're going to make her your God? There's only one God. You don't make humans a God. You don't make some chick a God. I don't care how hot she is, man. I really don't. You got to play your position. You got to play your role. The second you fall out of that role, you become less attractive, less desirable, less alpha, less high status. You want to worship some chick, put yourself beneath her, she's going to walk away from a loser like you. A really good woman doesn't want a guy worshiping her. She wants to worship the man. She doesn't want you to worship her. Only some weird feminist, dominant chick who's got this whole gender thing backwards wants men to worship her. This is that stripper mentality. They think that's empowerment. Women that want men to worship them usually flaunt their bodies a lot. She doesn't want you to worship her brain. She wants you to worship her ass. That's why she's twerking. That's why she's wearing them skin-tight clothes. That's why she walks like that. There's nothing wrong with being attracted to a woman. Nothing wrong with thinking that she's amazing, that she's wonderful, that she's smart, beautiful, awesome, all those things, all those qualities. And nothing wrong with that. But when you do this stuff from afar, it turns into a crush. I think crushes are unhealthy. I think crushes are confidence killers. I think it's a waste of thought, a waste of time, it's a fantasy. And you shouldn't engage in fantasies, not unless it's plotting on a business plan. That's the only kind of fantasy that I engage in. Let's fantasize about a potential future. Let's have this be a business plan. And the second way that you want to handle this, because that's the front end, the back end, is to go up and talk to her. I found for myself that crushes happen from afar. The second I approach her, the crush is over. It's not that I get disillusioned or my fantasy crumbles. No, I've met women that I've seen across rooms that I thought were amazing, and then go up and meet them, and it turns out they're way more amazing than you could have ever even imagined. Their good looks is just one small part of them. But in order to dispel those fantasies and to bring yourself back down to earth, bring yourself into reality as a player in the game rather than just an observer. A crush is an observer. That's an observation. People with crushes are sitting on the sidelines observing. You want to get in the game. Be a player in the game. That means you're going to have to approach her. And approach anxiety is a thing. I've had it many times. We can talk about how to approach women. I have another video where I kind of talk a little bit about this. We talk about cold calling and, various forms of approach. I kind of use a salesman tactic to it just because I've been trained in sales for so many years, and that's what a large part of my experience is with talking to people that don't want to talk to me or that weren't planning on talking to me. But if you have this crush on this chick, you see her every day at the gym. Let's just try to make up an example. You see her every day at the gym. She's always across the room doing her thing. Oh, she's so sexy. Maybe she's with a friend. That makes it even a little bit more intimidating. It's one thing to approach a chick who's by herself. It's another thing to approach a chick when she's with some friends or something. Then it makes it a little bit more intimidating. And you're always telling yourself, well, the time isn't right. I would go up and talk to her, but the time isn't really right. She's got all her friends around her. She's got her little earbuds in. Maybe she's in the middle of a set. The time ain't never going to be right, bro. You're just going to have to jump in that cold water and experience it for yourself. You may walk up there, and I've had this happen, walk up to a woman and you say something and it comes out weird and she just looks at you like, okay, whatever. And then you walk off just like, I'm an idiot. You got to play to win. But the approach, the actual interaction, will take you instantly out of that realm of fantasy and put you into reality. If you can have a conversation with her, even better. I find very often that men get tortured not by the rejection of a woman. Rejection is hard, and Jordan Peterson talks about this in a very eloquent way. You can look up Jordan Peterson's conversation about rejection. He talks about it better than I can. And it is devastating, and he's a psychotherapist, so he should know. Guys go there and cry to him about being rejected. Lots of guys kill themselves off of being rejected from a woman. Lots of guys go homeless because they're rejected by a woman. So rejection's tough, but I've found when it comes to crushes, we're talking about a crush, and you approach your crush, you get up the guts to finally approach her. Maybe she rejects you. Maybe she's not really receptive. Maybe she has a boyfriend. Maybe she's a lesbian. That's happened to me before. It's not so much the rejection that gets you, is it? You can walk away and be like, oh well. What gets you is always wondering that what if? What would have happened? I know guys that have just beat themselves for decades, not because of a rejection, but because of a failed action that they didn't act. I wish I would have said something. Sure, maybe she would have just been like, you're too old, you're ugly, you're not my type, whatever. But at least you would have tried. You'd know that just the mystery of not knowing, would it have been, that can be torture. So, learn how to approach a woman. And we may need to talk later at a point about learn how to walk away, learn how to be rejected, learn how to walk away confidently, learn how to take a rejection like it means nothing. Food for thought. Have a good weekend.